Welcome, everyone, to whatever fucking episode this is of Crows Not Showers. It's me, it's Matty, it's Camille. Has anyone had an eventful week that they would like to hop into?
Camille, have you? Because I haven't.
Nah, not really.
Oh, fuck, we're cooked. They're like, cancel the pod, we're cooked. Camille, what has your week consisted of, mate?
Steps, cardio,
Good stuff.
food, training.
Weird choice.
Yeah, I don't know why I trained this week. It was meant to be a deload. No, I'm joking.
You made me scratch
that's the thing, like,
I swear.
I spoke about on my story the other day, like bodybuilding is inherently boring. Like whether you're in a gaining phase or in a cut's a bit more fun because you get the weekly visual changes, but like it's the same shit every week. You learn to love being in autonomy to the point where like you don't even have to think twice about, okay, I need to eat my meal at this time, or I need to drink this amount of fluid before I train, or I need to get this amount of grams of carbs. Like it just becomes autonomy. So it's not interesting at all, but to me personally, and I'm sure you guys can relate, it is interesting because it's your own progress and you know that's what it takes.
Mm-hmm. I like it for the refinement aspect, like I kind of vaguely spoke about. Like it's the same, but it's like it gradually improves. You know what I mean? Like it's the same training, but you've got feedback from last week's session to run through on this session. You've got like similar-ish meals, but maybe you're like, okay, this meal usually falls behind 5 minutes, so I'm going to try and nail that down. Or this meal actually feel quite energetic, so I'm going to move that from the evening towards pre-workout, whatever. Like, you know, it's that refinement of things. It's quite cool, even though it's like samey.
Yeah, for what I did specifically this week, like I swapped out my veg because I was eating quite a lot of broccoli and cauliflower. And I was going to the toilet quite a lot. So I swapped it around and now I have a little bit of broccoli, carrots, sweet corn and something else. I can't think off the top of my head. That improved my digestion quite a bit. And then training wise, I did see a little bit of a performance loss in some exercises. So I was like, cool, okay. I had a little conversation with Jack. Let's scale it back. Let's actually focus on getting the most out of every single lift. We're getting to that point in the cut now where it's like, I have a tendency, not necessarily to ego lift, but if there's a fucking spectrum, ego lifting is here and Nike science-based lifting is here, I edge closer to the ego lifting side for sure. So I have a tendency to get carried away, which is fine for legs because I think my legs literally just look at a fucking hack squat and will grow regardless. But for upper body, we need to be a bit more meticulous and make sure we're getting everything out of every lift. But yeah, that pretty much sums up my week.
Mate, it's like what you said though. You can tell. It's like what you said in our group chat. You can tell when someone's been injured before by how they train. You can tell someone who's not been injured before. I mean, to be fair, that might be quite a good little topic. Let's break that down a little bit. Let's break it down for me, Camille. What does that mean?
So what I meant by that is the way someone does a movement, you generally know what movement patterns tend to be a little bit more on the risky side when there's compensations and there's joints that shouldn't be involved in the movement that are being involved. We're not going to name who it was that we were talking about, but specifically they were doing a leg press, and during that leg press they were getting excessive, and I mean fucking excessive, to the point where I was so shocked I thought they were doing it on purpose, lumbar flexion. And I was explaining, like, you can tell when someone trains that they haven't been injured because they're so caught up in progression and load to the point that they're willing to sacrifice and put themselves at risk of getting injured just to get that extra 5-10 kilos on the bar. And that to me just screams like Instagram lifting. Like you're just trying to do it to put on your Instagram. Look at me, bro. I did 250 kilo RDL, but you look like a fishing rod. The most impressive sort of training to me is when you see a guy that's fucking massive using tiny weights, because that just shows a true fucking skill in the craft of training. If you can grow a shit ton of muscle from fuck all weight, the longevity out of it, you obviously get, you can grow for a shit ton of time because you're not going to get injured. But two, like the skill that it takes to produce that amount of stimulus from that little weight, that's so much more impressive. Because realistically, anyone who fucking hack squats 6 plates is going to have big legs. It's very rare that you'll see someone hack squat 6 plates and have big legs. But how often do you see someone hack squatting 3 plates and having big legs? Not very often. So like that to me is more impressive. But to the general public, they just see, oh, load. He lifts heavier. He must be stronger, so he's bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you see a lot of people talking about like mechanical tension, and people then interpret that as one of two things: either like the creation of tension through like being very, very careful with your reps, or mechanical tension is in terms of load. And like, to be honest, I think for growth they both give the same outcome, but the point is you're a human being and there's more going on than just growth. And just because something in a year's time is going to grow you just as well as something else, if we can do it without running the risk of you having to take a year off because you're injured, then we're always going to walk down that path. It's a lot more viable. And I mean, even then, you can make an argument for, okay, then it is worse for growth because long term you can't do it forever. Anyway, sorry, Matty, we kind of cut you off, mate. Before we can continue, how's your week been?
Good. I was going to say, I don't think I've talked in like 10 minutes. If you can't tell, I'm a shell of a human right now. It's not like I'm dieting stupid hard. I got a new low this morning, but I definitely felt it. This was like the first time in the diet I felt it. And it was quite cool, actually. Like I was doing form feedback. Well, Tom was doing my form feedback. And he went, he doesn't look at my sheets apparently in between like check-ins. And he was like, I do that to try and learn. I don't know if he did it for you, Jack, but I do that. He does it to try and learn people's kind of like how people's bodies kind of respond by just looking at them. And I sent over a post-workout visual. And it's like, you've got a new low this one, and guess my weight almost exactly. It was like 0.1 pounds off. I was like, how the fuck can you do that? It's quite impressive. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, my week's been pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm just missing my girlfriend. She's been away from me for like 5 days now. But I know it sounds so stupid. Like people do long distance relationships, but like I have not been apart from my girlfriend for like the longest we were was summer, the summer, right? And it wasn't even that. We were trying to challenge ourselves to stay apart for that time. But I came up every like 1.5 weeks. Like I was even less than that and stayed for like a week because I just couldn't. I'm like so dependent that, let's stop being. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm hard, mate. No, I'm actually like very, very light and tired. So anyway, that is my week. Just missing my girlfriend and still doing the same old. Still applying the same stuff to my clients. But I've got a meetup next week, which is quite exciting. Very good. Very, very good. I expect people to pull out last second, like some people, because it always happens.
Wow.
Okay, fuck off.
And pull out. Man.
Yeah, exactly, bro. But yeah, we're planning a little gym, then Nando's, then bowling. So it'll be pretty fun. It'll be pretty fun. Camilla, you planning on ever doing a little meetup with your guys? Do you think that's something you'll have in the horizon, or is it more like we'll do a joint one with all the people?
I wouldn't see a reason to do it with just my clients alone. I don't think I've got enough clients at the moment, and also a lot of my clients are injured, funnily enough. So if it was a meetup, it'd probably be something that doesn't involve training. But what I would love to do is something like a seminar or like a workshop. Especially because I've got a lot of people who are like with me for the educational side of things, a lot of coaches. So I'd love to do like a live workshop, and a lot of PTs as well. So I'd love to do like a live workshop, be like, this is some manual testing that you could do with your, with your clients if you're PTing them, or, how do you approach assessing, form from like an injury perspective, et cetera, et cetera. I think that'll be quite useful. But yeah.
I rate that, man. That's a fucking good idea. We should do that. 100%.
Yeah, we could do a posing seminar. We could do a drug seminar where you just come and jab loads of people with drugs. That's all you do.
Here's how you take them.
Just fucking jabbling it across the room. Just some GH. Yeah,
running the line with their tongue out. A little bit of like Annabelle.
Oh yeah. Does that make me like 0.1% not 90? And now I'm gonna gain like 200 pounds.
Yeah, bro. You get to 220 lean pretty quick. Yeah.
220 lean, bro. I'm not even 160 lean. Like.
There's 60 pounds of tissue, mate, plus easy peasy.
Real.
You boys got any weekend plans or any plans for the week?
I'm off to see my girlfriend tomorrow, so yeah.
Hey.
What about you, Camille?
You're getting your steps on the way. You're gonna walk on the motorway.
I mean, that sounds like me. Just stop off at the. That's what I had to do the other day. Stop off at the services to walk around the services. There's the most bodybuilder. I bet people thought I was a fucking idiot. I walked past Starbucks about 70 times. I bet they were like, "I think is this guy following me?" Just waiting for me to come out.
One of my.
What about you, Camille?
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, what have you got for the weekend?
Yeah, one of my favorite memories of Jack was when he was in prep, and me and him used to have a lot of
What is this?
Me and him used to have a lot of conversations late at night, and he used to send me voice notes, and he's like panting like a bulldog. He's like, so you think about the biomechanical concept, like it's so fucking.
Dude, were you there that one time where I couldn't sleep, so I sent everyone messages at 3 a.m.?
Yeah, you do that all the time.
I literally was like laid up in my bed. I just could not fucking sleep. And I'd started in prep, like going for walks in the dark, because it was the only thing, because I would lay down in bed, get frustrated, get emotional, get anxious, and then you're just like stuck. And I found that like what I would do is I would get out. This is not advice for people. Oh my God, depending on where you live, don't take this advice. I was fairly fortunate where I lived. And also like where I lived was mainly full of like old people. So like I was the threat. But anyway, I'd be walking around and I'd just walk until I was tired. So sometimes I'd walk for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And every time I do that walk, I would be like, okay, I'm going to sleep. So I'm going to feel better than if I stay awake. But I know the next day I'm going to feel awful. Because like my sleep's so fucked, because I'm waking up at like 1 a.m. to walk for 2 hours, to go to bed at 3, to wake up at 6. Like I'm gonna feel awful. So I just started doing work, because I was like, well, I'm more awake now than I'm gonna be at 6. So yeah, I just started responding to people, and then the next day I had a flood of messages of people being like, holy shit, you sent me an 8-minute voice note at 3 a.m. What the fuck? And if you listen, it's just like me like walking around my town in the dark, just being like, yeah, man, so here's what I'm thinking for the timeline this week. Waffling to people, absolutely yapping.
On the topic of prep, actually, this would be quite good to talk about. So I had a bit of a hiccup, I think sometime last week or maybe this week, and that's just been, I can't really remember. But basically, I think prep mentally obviously can be a bit challenging, but having someone who you worked with for a while and actually understands you as a person, that is able to be there for you psychologically, is so fucking important. I had like a bit of a hiccup where I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I'm ready to prep. Like, I've got all these imbalances, like classic just bodybuilder trying to be perfect, right? That is just me in a nutshell. But basically, I just had like the worst week imaginable last week. And then I messaged Jack, because I literally didn't want to talk to anyone about it. Didn't want to talk to the missus. Obviously, parents don't understand, don't really talk to the boys. Maybe it's like once every 2 weeks, if that. So obviously I messaged Jack. I sent him like a bunch of shit, basically just spewing out knowledge. And Jack basically just unpacked it and basically just said, look, shut the fuck up. Like, you're going to do well. Just keep your head screwed on. And I think for some people that might not work, but I think for me specifically, I'm a very blunt person, and like I can be very emotional, but Jack is able to like ground me. But again, it's very context dependent. So if anyone who's listening has got clients who are competing in prep, make sure to check up on them regularly. Don't just check in once a week, especially in the beginning portions of prep. Don't just leave it until like the last 8 weeks to do multiple check-ins a week. Like in the beginning portion of prep, it can be really mentally challenging when they might not be getting those visual changes every week. It still might be, a bit light. The food might not be that low, but they don't look the way they want, and they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves. Other people are putting a lot of pressure on them. So in general, like prep is very, very mentally challenging, and being able to understand why your client is doing it, what they're doing it for, and what outcome are they trying to get out of it. so that you can support them psychologically the best way.
100%. Well, a part of what I said to you as well is like, and I think this is probably advice that a lot of people find helpful, is your concern was like various movement imbalances that you had. And I was like, well, the only reason that those concern you is because you're aware of them. Like most people in your position will be starting a prep, do fantastically, have a great season, and have a ton of movement imbalances, just not know. But when you have that knowledge, it's almost easy to kind of like scare yourself. The same way that like I think sometimes knowing too much can be a detriment. Like a lot of the time, if you have people who like they prep and it's their first time prepping, they've never even heard of prep, they just can't take it for what it is. Like it can go either way. You can be like, wow, this is way harder than I thought. You can just be like, whatever, I'll just keep going. Whereas it's easy to like psych yourself out of something, especially the more that you know and the more kind of pressure there is on you. So I think one element of like managing your mindset around prep is just kind of accepting that like it's never going to be perfect. You just go in with your best intention, and ultimately if you don't want to announce it, you don't have to. And again, like what makes a good prep is what ultimately is going to be. You kind of have to I'm stumbling my words. You need to listen to like what works for you, basically. Okay. And if like, you know, holding yourself accountable on social media is what you want, great. And if you want to keep it quiet, then do that. But yeah, it's very easy when you've got influence or knowledge to kind of psych yourself out of preps, which I think a lot of people can do, especially with how like glorified preps are. That's definitely something I did in the past, of like scaring myself from prep, and I'll be like, ultimately you're just tired and hungry, and that's fine. Like what's the worst that happens? You get tired and hungry, you know, like so what? But when you hear bodybuilders be like, oh, you know, it's fucking 6 months of hell, it's not really, man. It's just 6 months of tired and hungry. Tired and hungry is a very familiar feeling. It's just more of that. Like we can do that, you know.
Yeah, I think the psychological part of it exactly is what you say there, and I think everyone gets in their head way too much, and it's something we've rambled on about for about 7 times in this podcast. But it's so apparent. Like especially, I think one thing I struggle with is like comparison. Like when you open up, like even like you guys, like if I open up, if I'm like feeling shit about my physique, and I open up and I just see like Camille or you've just fucking Jack's posted a side chest, you posted a fucking side tricep, I'm like, well, fuck, you know, it's a bit fucking shit, this is. But you got to remember, like, especially, like, I remember the days where Jack was coaching me and he got me fucking lean. Yeah, we were really, 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 really ready. And I remember like taking one check and I was like, I fucking hate how I look. But then I went to the gym, got some food in me because they were fasted photos, got a pump, and I'm like, I look that's the best I've ever looked. This is like the only sport, like, this is the only sport where you can change, like, your performance is your look at the end of the day, but you can change your performance in something so drastically over a couple of hours. Like, like in football, you don't just turn up and become fucking Lionel Messi, do you? Like, it's just not how that works. Like, it takes years and years. But with bodybuilding, like, you can literally go from like flat as a pancake to fucking full blown in like a couple hours. It's so weird. So how the fuck can you compare yourself to anyone else? Because they could be full blown there, and they will be, because it's posted on Instagram. So that's kind of my take on it. I feel like comparison, especially like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna try and stay off Instagram completely. Like, it fucked me up last prep. Like, I saw one guy who wasn't even gonna be at my show, but I thought he was gonna be at my show. I was like, well, I'm fucked now. Like, it's just like, but in reality, like, I actually could have done all right next to him. Like, I don't know. It's a crazy thing.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Matty, like something that you said to me, I think this was a couple of episodes ago, was literally, you shouldn't be goal orientated, but rather just simply trying to bring the best version of yourself. And that really stuck with me, because like, even I had this massive thing right now being cutting. It's such a petty thing, but like, for some reason, I just hate how my arms look from my rear shots. I remember them getting smaller with every single check and photo, and looking at it, be like, fuck, I'm getting smaller, like, what's going on? And it's like, it's every single person has their own little tics, their own little dislikes about their physique, the nitty gritty that someone else looking at your physique objectively wouldn't even fucking notice. And you just got to learn to just fucking be like, cool, like that's it. That's how I feel right now. But if I look back at these photos in 6 months' time, will I think the same thing? Probably not. And like, because you've prepped before, I've prepped before, and I remember going through prep and sending my check-in shots to Jack, deleting them off my phone, never even thinking about them, never seeing them again, doing nothing. And then out of curiosity, I scrolled back through some of my photos, like really, like with Jack, literally at the start of this year. And I was looking back at the shots. I was like, yeah, I was small, but I actually looked pretty fucking decent. Like, and how you feel in the moment is going to be so heavily influenced by, one, your hormones, two, the fact that you have no fucking food in you and you're literally starving your body, three, the fact that you're psychologically drained and depleted of glycogen, which your body needs, also your brain needs, to literally fuel thought. Like, there's all these factors playing into what I describe as prep demons or prep brain. So you just, the best bodybuilders just are so nonchalant. Like, the more nonchalant you can be, the better of a bodybuilder you are. If, like I said this on my story the other day as well, like, if Jack bumps my food, cool, crack on with it. If Jack drops my food, cool, crack on with it. If Jack bumps my expenditure, cool, crack on with it. Whatever change is made, you just learn to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna do what it takes to become the best version that you can. And if you do that, you can't be not happy with the product because you did everything you could. You couldn't have physically done anything more. And that is the satisfying part of prep. It's like, I actually tried my hardest. I couldn't have looked better even if I tried.
That is the objective. Yeah, sorry, Jack, you told me. You.
No, I was just going to say that 100%. Bodybuilding is such a slow sport. And like you said, Matty, and it's so volatile. Like, you can go from holy shit, I've got this, to I'm cooked, to, you know, it's coming back, to like whatever. It's pointless, like, attaching any sense of your identity to your physique, because the same as, like, it's like the same with strength. Like, you can get stronger, but get weaker in the gym because your ability to demonstrate that strength is bad because you slept bad, or you're stressed, or glycogen is low, whatever. Like, who cares? But again, ultimately, if you just pride yourself on your actions, like, the one thing that, like, especially towards the start of my prep, RIP the prep, but the start of the prep that kind of kept me going is I would ask myself, like, is this someone who's going to win an overall? Is this like what they would do? Right? I was like, okay, my goal is, I don't really care about winning an overall. Like, I'd love to, obviously, but I don't think that's realistic. But I would say, okay, if someone was going to win an overall, what would they do? How would they approach this session? How would they approach this cardio? How would they approach this meal? And that's what I would do. I would be like, my head would hit the pillow, and I'd be like, did I make the most of today and act like someone who's going to prep to win an overall? Because if at the end of prep I go, hey, I did all of the actions that I think are necessary to win an overall, and obviously I don't do that, well, then it's just fucking time. I just have to keep doing that until I get to that point. You know, like, clearly it's just a size issue. Okay, well, I can only grow so quickly, so let's just keep on that mindset and keep on going. But if you focus on your actions and, you know, carrying yourself in the best way possible and pride yourself on your actions, especially when no one's looking, that's really, really, really where, like, a great bodybuilder is formed. Because there's been several times, especially in my early bodybuilding career, where, like, you know, face of it looks like things are going well, but behind the scenes it's like, my actions definitely could have been way, way better, especially like 18, 19. Jesus Christ, man. Like, you go get a takeaway, you're not talking about it on your stories when you're like 19. Obviously not. Like, you want people to think you're fucking, you know, you're on it or whatever. And so, like, even just the removing that, like, disconnect there. So behind the scenes, you're doing exactly what people think you're doing. Again, like, it's what really brings physiques to life, is acting a certain way and being a certain way, and embodying bodybuilding.
Yeah, man's on it. That's what I love about. I'm just thinking the exact same thing as you're talking about. It's like, there's not much more I can add to that. You've just hit the nail on the head, mate.
No, bro, just add to it. Just do it anyway. Come on.
Well, so Jack is annoying. That's what I'll add to it. No, I'm joking.
Let's go.
To be fair, one thing that I have been thinking about recently that I kind of troubleshooted out of my own thinking was, like, I have a very black and white approach to cutting and bulking, in the sense that it's like, when I'm cutting, it's like I'm only losing fat, I'm not building muscle. And when I'm bulking, it's like, okay, I just need to get as heavy as possible. And I think, again, having a conversation with Jack kind of cleared that out, being like, yeah, okay, you're in a deficit, but, like, you're still growing tissue. or like, okay, yeah, we're going to go into a slight push-up, we might drop to TRT, you're still growing tissue. And that definitely helped me because I come from a background where I was very skinny before I started going gym. So this is all constant mentality of like, I need to get bigger. I always need to get bigger. And every time I have a thought of prep, it's like, okay, I'm going to lose tissue. I'm definitely going to lose tissue. And that is one of the worst sort of mindset you can have, because inevitably, if you think you're going to lose tissue, you're probably going to fucking lose tissue. Because that's going to translate into your training performance. You're going to be anxious. You're going to be like, fuck, I need to do X amount of weight on the hat squat. How am I going to do that when I'm 7% body fat, etc., etc.? So something I'm learning now is not seeing it in black and white, like, and not seeing it almost as phases. It's just bodybuilding. If I'm in a bulk, I'm just bodybuilding with more food and more training. If I'm in a cut, I'm just bodybuilding with less food and more expenditure. It's still bodybuilding. Yeah, we have phases, but I'm constantly improving.
Bro knows, mate.
Bro knows, yeah.
Literally, I remember you sending me that, and I was like, bro's ready for prep. Like, it's just another phase. The first person who taught me that was Ryan Turner, Mr. Train with Intent. Like, I remember we had it was at Tom's client meetup when I was coached by Tom. No, I'm kidding. But when I went and like I chatted to Intent, and like honestly, that conversation changed my entire perspective on bodybuilding, because I literally had the same outlook of like his dieting, his bulking, when he was like, it's just all bodybuilding. Like, what is different? He was like, okay, so you were gonna prep, so you didn't prep. What's changed? And I was like, nothing. He's like, fucking then sound. And I was talking to him, I was like, oh, I'm scared to prep. And he was like, okay, but like, you've just said you were gonna prep, you're in a pre-prep diet, and now you're in an off season. You're just doing the same stuff, and then guess what? The same stuff continues. Like, nothing changes. Like, absolutely nothing changes. You're still having your 5 meals. You've got cardio. You've got steps. They're just different, and they're not even different for the entirety of prep, because like you've got peaks and mock peaks and refeeds and stuff. Like, it's just all bodybuilding. Like, at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. So don't make one phase like glorified. And I remember speaking to him and being like, you know, how long are you planning your prep for? And he was like, oh, it's just dieting. And I was like, fuck it, I'm 8 weeks out, let's do it. Like, and I was like, you know what, I like that. It's kind of like what we did with Dan's prep, where he was just like, let's just diet. Okay, do we want to keep on dieting? Yeah, let's just keep on dieting. Cool, let's just keep on dieting. And you go, shit, we're 8 weeks out. Okay, cool, let's just fucking do it. Same with Josh Jenkins and his last prep. I heard him talking about it, and him and Tim would just be like, right, let's just not tell anyone we're prepping. Let's prep. And then if every week, come check in, I say, hey, Josh, do you want to continue? And you go, yeah, then we'll just continue. And if you don't, then we don't. Like, it was going to be a mini cut or a prep. It ended up being a prep. Cool. But like, if it's a mini cut, who the fuck cares? And if it's not season, who the fuck cares? It's just the same thing. But again, it's very easy to build up prep as this like thing in your head of like, no, it's different. It's so evil and brutal, and like, I'm going to be an asshole and I'm going to like really struggle. Why are you going to really struggle? It's going to take you 24 weeks to like get to the end point. The really hard bit is like the last 8 weeks, but you've already been going for 16. So you're already kind of there. Like, you're practiced, you're used to it. And again, it's just bodybuilding. Like, prep is obviously difficult, but it's not anything that you haven't felt before, just amped. We've all been tired. We've all been hungry. It's just more of that. And like, yeah, in the moment that can make you feel really out of it. But if you take a second to really like just center yourself, you're like, actually, yeah, I'm kind of fine. Like, yeah, training maybe is a bit less appeal, but training doesn't always have appeal. That's fine. It's just bodybuilding.
Yeah. I think that doesn't even just relate to competitive clients as well. One thing I see a lot of times is like, especially lifestyle clients asking me like, oh, can we get down to this goal weight? Can we get down to this goal weight? And that goal weight in my mind is like what you were just saying, like everyone's focused on that end point, right? And what I say to them is like, why do you want to get down to this specific weight? And they'll be like, oh, it's just a cool number. I was like, why don't we just diet, see how you look, and when you get down to that weight, you'll probably go, oh, I want to be leaner. So we'll just continue dieting. Nothing changed. But what if you kept that goal weight in your head that entire time? And then when you get to like, I don't know, 10 weeks in, you're like, oh, I'm not there fast enough, because you're always thinking ahead. You're not actually in the moment. And that's what I think that fucks everyone up. Prep clients, lifestyle clients, anything. Even fucking powerlifters, they're thinking of like, you know, I want to hit this number by the end of the year. Why by the end of the year? Just get fucking strong and then you'll eventually hit it. Just focus on the now, keep going. Nothing's going to change whether you're thinking of that thing or you're not thinking that thing. It's still the same thing. So why would you think of that thing and fuck yourself up is the biggest thing I normally say.
The more you rush, the more pushback you get.
Literally, yeah.
Like the most like there was this one off season when my pressing went from mid to pretty much where it is now, and the biggest difference during that off season I had was I just never rushed. I just religiously stuck to, if I'm in the rep range, I find the top of the rep range. If I find the top of the rep range, I add load, I try and match reps, and the load that I add is the smallest possible. And like that took me from dumbbell pressing 35s to 55s. And I did it in like 40 weeks. And I just did it through, I remember like I would press 37.5 and be like, oh, 40. No, slow down. Like if I got 37.5 for 4, I would go back down. That's not the rep range. Go to 35, work it back up. Cool. Now we're at 37. And it's easy to go, oh, I got 37 for 9. I could just not get 10. I could go to 40. No, fuck that. Slowly. And I didn't get injured once, and my pressing absolutely flew. I did the same thing with the hack back when I could fucking hack, RIP. But like that also, yeah, Camille knows it's a real one. But like again, the more that you try and force something, the more it's just not going to be there. I've taken a lot recently to the John Jewett way of approaching progression, which is just train to 0 RIR and do the set with control. Let the number fall where it falls. If it's up, fantastic. If it's down, okay, maybe we need to reprogram something. But instead of trying to force adaptation on my body, I would just be like, okay, well, what's my body got? My body's got 2 reps. Oh, sound sweet. My body's got matching reps and form felt really, really tidy. Okay, cool. My body's got, we lost a couple of reps. Well, I am tired today. Cool. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Like, if you know how to train and you know what you're doing, you can almost use progression as like a passive thing. If you continue to show up to the gym and you continue to get coached and you have good programming, you're going to become a strong fucker. Like, Camille, you're going to be growing for a long time. You're currently Smith pressing. It's not unfeasible that you're going to be Smith pressing like 4 or 5 plates in your lifetime, like per side. But what's not going to help you is if you have a chocolate shoulder. So let's just fucking get there slowly. It's something I have to tell myself all the time is like, you're using strength enhancers. You're consistently bodybuilding. You're young as fuck. You got ages to go. Why are you trying to rush to like press 4 plates? Let's just do like 2.5 instead of doing 3 for really low reps. Let's do 2.5. Let's chill and let's build it up. Because if you continue to go the path you're going, you will fucking get stronger. It has to happen.
Yeah, 100%. No, you said it there perfectly. It's like, it's just accountability within your training. Because again, no one's going to be there hanging over your shoulder being like, do you really think you should do this? And it very much is an impulsive decision in the moment, at least for me. Pre's kicked in. I feel strong. I look good. I can see myself. I'm pumped. I'm like, yeah, I could just slap on an extra 10 kilos. And I'm really guilty of this with legs because I can get away with it because I've got strong legs. But I try and mimic that on my upper body. And I'll go up like 5 kilos instead of just putting 2.5s on, and I'll lose like 4 reps. And it's like, well, I just wasted an entire set. Bear in mind, I've only got like 8 sets of chest a week or 10 sets of chest a week. That's like 20% of my chest volume a week I've just lost. And you get almost like a post-nut sort of sensation. You're like,
yeah, it's true.
Do that? And you know in the head, like it is just like accountability. It's like your ego is learning to channel your ego is so fucking important. Use your ego when it's actually needed, but don't let it dictate your decision. It's just another tool. It's just another tool. You should use your ego when you're hitting new load, but that new load should be respectable after you've finished the rep range and you've done everything you can with the previous load. Because like you said, it's just a matter of longevity. Like you don't need to rush. And why would you risk just getting injured, which could set you back? You then have to take 2 steps back to take a step forward, rather than just keep taking half a step forward for the same amount of time. It's like the saying was the tortoise and the rabbit or some shit. Who won the race? The tortoise and the hare, yeah.
Tortoise and the rabbit, the famous tale.
The tortoise and the rabbit.
Turtle and the bunny, G.
Spitting some inspirational stuff. Write that down.
Write that down, mate. Like, I'm so guilty for the thing is, like, for me it's the other way around. So legs, like, instant pain if I push it, but upper, especially if I'm feeling it, I can get away with it. Like, I remember, like, the amount of times I've like hit a number and just never hit it again. Like, I did 5 plates per side on the hammer strength incline and I got it for 6, and I went to do it for the next week. I was meant to do 4.5, I did 5. I went to do it the next week and was like, oh my god, my entire fucking glenohumeral joint is pissed off at me. Like, I have never felt so much ag in my shoulder in my life. And I remember getting up to 3 plates and was like, this hurts so badly. And it's because I rushed it. And, like, realistically, I should have chilled out a little bit. And I mean, I did that even recently. Like, my shoulder right now has been a little bit pissy. I managed to force out a set on a few different, like, chest pressing machines that I really shouldn't have forced out. Went to do them today and was like, yeah, no, 1 plate per side. It's getting pissy with that because I've just, you know, clearly irritated something that I should have respected a bit more. And, like, that's what happens. We're all guilty of it. Like, but for me, it definitely comes out as I get the set, but, like, strength wise, it's fine. But then I go to repeat it next week and it's like, nah, joints say no. They say fuck right off. I got a touch on, like, 7 plates per side on the prime row, the seated one. And then, like, funnily enough, threw my scap out. And it's like, yeah, it's not expected. Like, obviously, if you jump from, like, 6 to 7 in a week, like, obviously, you know, you're gonna piss something off.
For those listening at home, sorry, Matt, I'll let you speak in a sec, but I'm going to spit some physiology quickly to help people understand. So, especially if you're enhanced, but even if you're a natural bodybuilder who has ridiculous strength anyway, your muscle progresses a lot quicker and adapts a lot quicker than the tendon. Why? Because of the blood supply. Blood obviously brings oxygen and nutrients, meaning if something has a greater blood supply, it can recover better. Now, why is that bad? If a tendon is constantly remodeling session to session, but it's not able to recover, you get 1, tendonitis, 2, scar tissue. Scar tissue is a pain in the ass to treat, and that gives you months and months of hassle. So if you are thinking about, you know, jumping that next 10 kilos in a hack squat because you hit the top of the rep range, think about that. Think about how 1 set could set you back months. And we're not talking, you know, you fuck up a hack and it just fucks up your hack. We're talking global multi-pattern movements getting fucked. If you fuck up a hack and you fuck your legs on the hack, your pressing could get affected, your rowing could get affected, your hinges could get affected. You get 1 really bad injury and you could be out of the gym training nothing.
Yeah.
So please do smart progressions, and I'm telling this to myself as well, by the way.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. I think that's where passion for training comes along. But I wonder, Camille, do you reckon that Cialis has any, like, benefit at all in terms of, like, injury prevention?
Funny enough, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I think so, because obviously it stimulates blood flow pretty much everywhere. Like I just said, blood brings oxygen, blood brings nutrients, but more importantly, blood brings warmth. So when you take Cialis, you're generally just going to be warmer everywhere, which is going to make your joints happier. Your muscles are going to move a lot better, and they're going to be a lot more loose. Malleable is the right word, loose. But I would say Cialis could actually, I doubt there's any research behind it, but I would strongly lean towards that it would actually help prevent injuries, or at least manage them.
I'm sold. I'm in.
Can I get some?
Bro, just wants an excuse to get a boner at the gym.
You probably
I just take a Viagra, it's fine.
So, like, is Cialis allowed in natural bodybuilding? I feel like it.
I'm pretty sure it's banned.
Yeah, don't get me on that. I don't want to be taking something that's going to get me a better pump just to still stay fucking looking natty. Like,
I guess, to be fair, you do have to be careful with some pre-workouts, so I guess it is entirely possible.
Yeah,
it's usually the stimmy ones. The what is it, DMAA? That's usually the issue. I think.
It's not banned.
Oh,
That's
Matty Moo.
I'm fine though. I'm fine with my little pump formula I got.
To
I'm
be
good.
fair, I do want to try. There's a few different pump products I want to try because I definitely think for like anecdotally, like okay, to be fair, like me and Matty spoke about this on like my posing call. Kind of whenever I have an issue with feeling my quads on the gym sessions where I do feel quads, I can I can really tap into them and make like 2 plates aside on a leg press fucking evil. And when I can do that, I can really like almost rehab my knee. Like I remember using blood flow restriction and having a really strong muscle connection with my quads. And I would literally leave the session and the next day my knees would feel smooth, like so fucking good just from flushing them with blood.
Yeah,
so
you know, I was gonna say, you know, when you're posing, like, do you ever feel like a day after legs or like when you're doing legs, can you get that connection when you try and do like, have you ever tried, can you not?
I just get joint pain.
Oh,
I
fuck.
haven't felt quad dogs, mate. I haven't felt quad dogs in like 2 years. I just
That's
get knee
the-
pain.
I don't want to get, can I just not get quad DOMs and grow my quads? That'd be quite nice.
I'd love quad doms. I miss them. I might have to go back to BFR for the time being because my knees are so pissy, man. So pissy.
That'd be so. I fucking get. I'm so privileged in the fact that I haven't got an injury ever really. Like I've got a scap problem from a mobility issue which comes from the ribs that Camille and me are sorting. Camille's sorting. I'm just following him. But like apart from that, I've had like a little forearm fuckery, but like I've never had like any knee or elbow issues. Probably because I'm not fucking strong enough. But like yeah.
I'm still convinced. I think I've got some form of connective tissue disorder. Like I'm so convinced by it because I just run into like flares constantly.
Just go natty. That's what I say.
But it's so frustrating because like half of the movements I'm weak at, like I've never had a good chance to run up my quad pressing. And it's because every single time the ceiling is knee pain. Like
piss me off.
It's never. I've like again the worst one is like I've leg pressed at my best like 400 kilo and I haven't been above 200 in the past like year and a half. That's fucking painful. Drives me nuts.
I can imagine that the amount of restraint as well because it's just fucking annoying. Like it's like you could do that's like
it is annoying,
I've never run into that exactly, and I'm still fucking weaker than that. So I mean, like I'd be pissed off though. Like if I could, like I just got to like 2 and a bit plates on that hammer strength incline today, which is strong for me. And I was like, if I had to like go back to like 1 and a bit plates, it would just make me myself. Like it's just like.
Yeah, I had so much negligence because like I had my first taste of injuries basically this year, and because I kind of went enhanced in the midst of all of it, I ignored the fact that I had constant pins and needles in my right leg, and it got to the point where
it's not a thing you want to ignore, bro.
I would do like hamstring curls and I wouldn't be able to feel my right leg. Like I literally could not feel it contracting because my leg was so numb. But I was like, nah, fuck it, it's fine. I'll just keep training. I'll keep training. And like, this is another thing as well for those of you listening. If you're injured, like, do not fucking neglect it because you're just going to make the rehab longer and longer. How to fix the problem immediately when it happened and actually gave it the time that it deserves, it would have been fixed within 2 months. But I was injured for like 8-9 months and I couldn't train legs properly for 8-9 months. So the best thing you can do is seek out someone who knows what they're doing.
Hit up Kamal, basically. It's what he's saying in a very polite way. Mate, fucking that's the thing about anabolics though, is like it's like you're just perpetually capped and without kind of blowing my own trumpet too much, I'm sure you guys can relate if you've ever been injured, is if you're really fucking strong, rehabbing something is such a pain in the ass when it's strong. Like I remember going to one of the osteos near where I exist, and we were trying to do like rotated cuff stuff for my shoulder, and they were like, okay, you're going to have to do, I think it was like eccentric stuff only. So it was, we would apply a cuff and we would move it a little bit like further up the forearm, load it a bit heavier, 2-arm assist, and then just do eccentrics. And they were like, okay, because if I was to get you to do concentrics, you're just too strong. It's just not going to do anything. Like you're just going to be able to do it all day. And I was like, okay, sounds sweet. And like it's the same for recently. My shoulder has been pissy, and I'm trying to find movements where okay, I don't have to load it that much. I can still hit failure. And it's the same with quads. Like finding that balance of is light enough to not hurt, but is heavy enough to stimulate. It's just impossible sometimes. Which is why I started moving to single arm pressing because I'm shit at that, and hopefully that doesn't progress too quickly. But that's why I use BFR for quads as well. Like otherwise, you just end up getting to a point where like I can't fail with 2 plates per side and a leg press, but that's all my knees can take. So what the fuck do I do? And the stronger you are, the worse that is. Like I can't imagine being really, really, really fucking strong because I'd actually be cooked.
Yeah, and something that I did a little bit of CPD earlier this week with my rehab mentor Daz, and one of the points that we touched on is when you have an injury, there's this model called the BPS model, the biopsychosocial model. I'm sure I've mentioned it on the pod before.
Yeah.
But an injury is multifactorial, so you have the actual biological, the mechanical element that as bodybuilders or this sort of specific demographic we experience the most, right? It's movement pattern dysfunctions, compensation, guarding, yada, yada, yada. However, there is also a sociological and a psychological element to injuries. So psychological being how you perceive pain. If you've had chronic pain for an extended period of time, you experience something called central sensitization, which is basically your nervous system being on high alert. So if you get another injury somewhere else, it's more likely that you'll perceive that pain as worse than another individual. And then you have the sociological element, which is obviously your relationship, family, friends, work life, etc., your daily tasks, your nutrition, etc. And sometimes you could be doing everything right from the biological aspect in terms of like mechanics, actual rehab, hands-on stuff. But if you don't address the sociological and psychological element of it, the person won't get better. And that's something that I've been working through with some of my rehab clients. Because I had a little sit down. I'm like, okay, this guy's getting better, cool. This guy's getting better, cool. But this guy, he doesn't seem to be getting better. Why is that? And then I'll go into the nitty gritty. Okay, his nutrition's fucked. He's under a lot of stress. His relationship is a bit rocky at the moment. His body isn't in a state to heal. So regardless of what you can do mechanically and rehab wise, if their body isn't receptive to it, that's not going to work. So sometimes the best approach to rehab is simply something that Dad said to me. He was like, fuck rehab this week, go take Jules on a date. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Why? He's like, what do you mean why? You're stressed out of your fucking mind. Do you think your body's going to be able to heal when you're distressed? No, go see your girlfriend. And that is more therapeutic than giving them, banded dislocations and fucking, I don't know, clamshells and being like, oh yeah, let's try this approach this week and giving them more and more and more rehab. The dose, the poison is often in the dose. That's the saying that we use. And sometimes we need to decrease the dose and worry about the other factors contributing to the pain. And that is more therapeutic than actually worrying about the rehab itself.
Double the dose.
Double the dose.
Wait,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask this. I was gonna say, were you about to wrap up?
Yeah, but
I wanted to ask this quickly before we go to, as one of them quick fire things. What is the number one fucking mistake you see people do in the gym that really pisses you off? Has anyone seen that, like, one thing that everyone sees on people's form that, like, not pisses you, or maybe not even to do with people's form, but one thing people do in the gym that pisses you off?
Yeah.
Do you have one, Camille?
Yeah.
Okay, Jack, you go first, and we'll go across.
Phone calls. Get the fuck off your phone call. Why are you calling someone in the gym? Every single, fucking 4 times a week, the past 8 weeks, this keeps happening. You guys know the gym that I train at, right? Camille, you know it very well. I'm sure you're unsurprised. So many people, right? Always on the leg extension, on the phone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God. Right? It actually irks me and irritates me because I believe that everyone in the gym is equal. Everyone has equal value and importance. Okay. But if you are on the leg extension and you are on the phone, my time is more valuable than yours. Get the fuck off the leg extension. Stop wasting your time. I'm actually here to do something. Get off.
Bro is locked in.
it jars me, man. I've no issue with, like, again, I would never, like, if fucking Susan, who's 65, was using a leg extension, I wouldn't be like, oh, Susan, like, I've trying to bodybuild, shut up. Like, no. But if you're on the phone in the gym, you're actually doing nothing. Get the fuck home. Go home. Like, get off the phone. It actually irks me. Like, it makes me, I want to rip you out the machine and slap you around the face with your phone and tell you I'm doing 8 sets, you can wait. Like, piss off. Anyway, that's my thing.
I can tell that.
I don't really feel that strongly, to be honest. It's not really a thing. Like, I'm pretty nonchalant about it, really. Anyway, Camille, what's yours? I'm so nonchalant.
When someone gives you or tries to correct your form but can't justify why.
That was mine. That was
good.
Mine, mate.
That's
That was mine. Oh, go on, Camille.
Like,
you explain, 'cause it's so funny.
When someone says, "Oh no, you could do it better by doing this," and then I try it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. Like, what's the benefit? Like, why am I doing this?" And they're like, oh mate, just
wait.
get out of
an
it."
example of this, because let's break it down.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, they get so pumped when you say why, and it's like I think it's like
Has someone done this to you in person recently? Can you name what lift this was on? What was the cue? And what was the lift?
So lat pull downs, not moving my scabs.
Oh, well, it's more contraction focused. So obviously you're going to feel it, right? Okay. That.
It's because they came up to me and they were like, "Oh no, like you're definitely decently strong. Like, you're big." Like, they started complimenting me. I was like, "Oh yeah, thank you." He's like, "Why don't you try it this way? Because you'll be able to lift more weight." I was like, "Oh, that's interesting, but are you getting a stretch?" And they're like, "Yeah, you get a stretch." I'm like, the lat does more than just flex the shoulder, right? And I was like, have you heard of the scapulohumeral rhythm? When you lift your arm into this position, your scap physically has to move anatomically to create space. He's like, "Oh, where'd you learn that?" I was like, "Biomechanics, mate. Fuck off."
You just flashed the degree, but I've got a degree in it.
But yeah, literally.
As soon as you're decently big, you'd be bigger and you could lift heavier if you did this. And then you're like, you immediately start talking about, even just throwing the word humorous out there. That's gone over his head. He's gone. The bicep tricep bone. Oh, sick.
Bicep tricep.
My favorite bone in the body, the bicep. For top 3 bones of all time.
Matty, what's your? Go on.
Well, mine was going to be that because it happened to me recently.
Okay, what was it? What happened?
I was shoulder pressing. This happened to me twice, so I really don't want the guy that just did it to me to think this, because he was really, really nice. The other guy, because basically I had this happen twice on the same machine. So it was a shoulder press, right? And because of my forearms they don't feel very, very nice when I go into a flared grip. So I use a neutral grip, right? And I put something behind me, like almost like a fake pad. I'm sure you've seen them to boost yourself forward. So the arc of the machine, I don't have to do this with, right? I don't have to go really far in front of me. And this guy was telling me to remove the back pad and then go flared. And I was like, but my forearm doesn't feel nice, and also it doesn't align very nicely with me. I'm flared out. I have to rotate forward. It just doesn't feel that nice, even if I change the machine to its like the settings to suit me. The first guy who did it was like, "Oh no, just trust me, bro." So I was like, because I was working in with him, I'm tired. I don't want to I was like, I'll just do it to humor him. And I was like, yeah, it feels shit. And he was like, "Oh, have you tried not locking out the top?" And I went, "No, the issue's." I was so tired at the point. I went, "Mate, the issue's not at the fucking top." I didn't say this, but I was like, I said the issue with my forearm isn't at the top, it's at the bottom, and neutral grip sorts that. And he was adamant on it. I was like, "Okay, bro, don't worry, I'll just do my set and go." So that's what I did. I was like, but the guy recently, this big guy in my gym, like the biggest guy in the gym. He's always there. Really, really nice guy. I thought he was really scary. It was the first time I talked to him. And he came over and he was like, "Oh, can I just ask why you do it this way?" Because with the back pad and stuff on it. And he was like, "Oh, have you never really done it like this?" And I was like, "Oh, I just do it because it's really nice on my forearm and I feel strong in that position." And he was like, "Sound." I was like, "That's okay." So I was like, I just didn't want him to think that if he's listening. But yeah, he was really, really nice. But the other guy was like, I never want to see that guy again. He was so adamant.
Most big people in the gym will always be the ones. I remember when I trained at a uni gym, there were a few fucking big Welsh bodybuilders, and small uni students would come up to me and be like, no, you need to do it this way. And the biggest people in the gym would come up and be like, why are you doing it this way? Like, they just want to know. They're still open to knowing. I remember making an adductor on the cables, and some guy was like, what are you doing? And I was like, close the inside of your leg, man. Like, close your thigh gap. And he was like, oh, can I try? And he tried. And he was like, that's crazy. And I was like, yeah, like, it's pretty good, isn't it? But I had someone else come up to me and be like, oh, you don't need to do adductors because they're trained in pressing and hinging. And I was like, okay, clearly they're not trained enough. And I would therefore like to train them more. Like, there is involvement, yes, but look at my adductors, they are small. I would like to correct that.
I just
But
think
yeah,
commenting on other people's training is just annoying, especially in the gym. Like when it's like unwarranted, like it's just not. It's just inherently just rude. Like I'm trying to have a good session. I'm having a really good session. If you come up to me, just fuck off. Just literally just fuck off. It's just annoying.
The only time I'll ever correct form, one, if I see it in the gym and I'm genuinely concerned for someone's safety.
Yeah, that's fair.
Two, if I see it on Instagram and I know the person and I know they're okay with me saying something, like, because because there's some people like there's some people that I'm like, okay, they like probably don't want to hear me like give form corrections, or like Luke, for example, if I give him a form correction, he'll be like, fuck off, or he'll be like, no, I do it this way because this reason. I'll be like, oh shit, never mind, fair enough. But like, there's people where I can be like, actually, you should try this and that, and they'll be like, oh sweet, cheers.
Yeah,
you know, like you gotta know what you like your audience and that. But yeah, that's the only time it's ever like okay to correct someone. If it's dangerous or remotely, like,
yeah,
privately,
it's the context behind it and the situation you're in. It's like you would never walk up to someone and go, "Oh, your shirt's shit." Like if you just walk past them in the street, would you? It's like oh yeah, you wouldn't go up to someone in the gym and go, "Oh yeah, you're doing that wrong, mate."
it is quite the vibe kill in a session in person, especially if like you're not fucking with it, you know. If they're like, hey, try this, and you're like, oh, that feels great, you know, like cool, that's fun. But if they're like, try this, and you're like, oh, that feels horrible, why I've wasted a set on this, why are we here, you know? Like,
yeah, it's like you, if you're gonna do that, do it in the right way. Be like, oh mate, like even if you're like working in with them, don't just immediately start a conversation with them and then be like, oh, have you tried? That's how Luke did it. I mean, Luke got most of his clients, but like he'd have a conversation with someone and then be like, oh. And then they'd eventually go, oh, my shoulder hurts a bit. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, you know, maybe you could tuck your elbows more in this. And then they'd be like, oh, shit. You got to get them on the positive foot rather than... Because if you just had a random stranger come up to you anyway, you'd be on the back foot because you'd be like, oh, okay. It's interesting. Like, yeah.
There was this one guy in my uni gym where he was doing dumbbell flies and just rushing in and out of the hole. And after every set, he'd like give it this. I walked over and was like, hey, man, do you get shoulder pain by chance? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, let me show you something real quick. And like his form was the worst, like arms all the way out, creating a crazy big moment and just like fully bang into the bench and then bang into the bench. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, maybe let's try a cable fly and maybe let's try it a bit slower. And then, yeah, that cleared up most of it, fortunately. But yeah, that was like, I remember walking up to him, acting as if I hadn't seen him for like 4 or 5 sets, be like, after doing like shit form.
That's crazy. That is actually. Oh, I'll let you wrap it up now because I feel like we've done. How did that turn in? I feel like that turned into like the longest podcast, even though we're all evidently a bit fucked. Or at least I don't know about you.
No, I'm fucked.
You seemed all right. I was gonna say, Camille, you seem all right.
I still have to train.
What the fuck, bro? I'm
ready.
I'm just the fucking, I don't know why, I just feel like Batman. These nighttime sessions just feel like, because the gym's empty.
Bro, shut up. Don't ever say that again.
Camille's check-in this morning made me giggle because he sent over resting heart rate and he was like, bear in mind it's skewed because I take pre at 8 p.m. And I was like,
when you say Batman, I imagine you like on a bench at the gym, like this, just like waiting in between your sets. That's what I imagine. We're just waiting with the music on. Hoodie up.
On the streets of Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Can you imagine Batman if you were Scottish? That'd be crazy. Well, I can't do the accent, but anyway, let's move on because I'm fucking knackered.
Right. Thank you everyone for listening. Our links are below. Instagram, Jack Archer Academy, Camille Archer Academy, Matt Archer Academy. If you're listening to this, you missed out on Camille's deal. Sucks to be you, mate. Fucking hell, you've bottled it. You absolutely bottled that. Embarrassing. Proper embarrassing. Better. Anyway, if you want to work with us regardless, then the links are down below. We've got this YouTube channel, Camille's YouTube channel. Matt, do we have a YouTube channel for you?
No, I'm gonna be making a YouTube channel though. That's what
It's a work in progress.
links below though. Like,
if you want posing coaching, that's Matt. If you want rehab coaching, that's Camille. If you want to be competitive, that's me. If you want to inquire about coaching, then we all do coaching. And so it's all fucking going on. It's all going on. We also operate at different price points to fit any budget. Anyway, that's enough plugging. Thank you all so much for listening. Have an amazing day. Aaron, if you're listening, send me an elephant emoji. Bye-bye.